Hi there! I'm gonna wait a little bit for people to come, but I thought to make a live video today about NSK stones, diamond stones again, and showing and telling a little bit my feedback about them. I know there is a lot of people who are interested by those stones and how they behave. There is a lot of stones actually in the NSK line, and I'm sure some people will be interested to discover them. So I have prepared this little petty. Hello everyone, and I thought I could do a little video, a live video about telling you my feedback about the NSK stones, and I will try to compare them with other diamond stones like Venev. I don't know if you see that, but I got a new setup. I have thought a little bit about my live video and how I could make more light and how I can show you the knife a little bit better. So I got a light here, you don't see because it's not in the frame, but I can normally show you much better my bevels. Compromise is that I'm filming with the back camera of the phone, so I have put a mirror to see what I'm doing and if I'm in the frame, but it will be difficult to read the comments, as I can see, because they are reversed. So I will try to read them anyway, and I hope it will work. So sorry, it's a first, and if it's not working I will change again, but I guess normally the quality of video and the light should be already better, and you will see a little bit better what I'm doing, so well, that's good enough maybe. Second thing, I would like maybe to start making again more video, more live video, sharing about my process, about the stones, but maybe about different topic around the knife making. And I'm not sure exactly, but maybe I would like to make a two-step video, which is one live with you where we can share questions, ideas together, and then maybe a more clean video, shorter video that I will film alone, answering all those questions, answering all the topic we have talked about, and maybe made a little format on YouTube to everyone to have something more easily to look at, because well, when I do live it's like 1 hour, 2 hour. Okay, so yeah, when you have some comments I will try to read them, and maybe I will go behind the phone. Of course, if you have questions, please tell me. And let's talk about the diamond stone I wanted to talk to you today. This knife was first ground on my big wheel, okay? And then it was let's say surfaced and thin a little bit on the belt sander 80 grit. This allow me to even the bevel, because the big wheel, which is 36 grit, is really powerful, but it will make if I'm pushing too hard, it will make hollow grind. And because it's narrow, it can follow the thickness of the knife, and so I can have unevenness in the lengthwise. I'm trying to look if there is any comments, but yeah, no comments yet. Okay, and so I'm working with the belt sander, and now I need to thin on the stones. And for you people, users, polishers, you may get a knife that is done on the belt. Maybe it will be thinner than a 80 grit, but actually, if it's done on the belt, most often it could have issue that will be the same on 240 grit or 320 grit than on the 80 grits, because on the belt, because it's a little bit supple support, you will have problems, you will have issue. And anyway, on the stone, when you will want to grind the bevel of your knife, if you want to just come from a knife which was not done on stone but you want to make it on stones, or if you want to thin a knife which is a little bit too thick for your use now, you can use some very coarse stones and start to really grind your bevel again, thin around the edge, maybe push shinogi up a little bit, 1-2 millimeter, so you have really the performance you want on this knife. Okay, so I have tested a lot of stones because I'm working, most of my work and my knives are shaped and polished on stones. I have tried a lot of stones, and we can say that there is maybe two big categories: the traditional whetstones and the diamond stones. All right, and just to show you, all right, in the end, with the traditional whetstones, maybe there is only two left from my testing. I didn't test maybe every stones on the market. Debado 180 and Imanish 200. For me, they are the two stones that I would keep using for sanmai work, because I'm also using other stones like Namikawa stones on the Onyaki. We are gonna talk mostly about sanmai first. I got much more experience about sanmai, and I guess you people will have a little bit more experience with sanmai too. Onyaki, maybe we can do another video, another subject. Okay, if I don't answer your question, please post it again, because I'm trying to look in the mirror if there is any question, but maybe I can miss one. So then, since, I don't know, maybe few years, there is some diamond stones. So there is a lot of diamond stones, and for example there is Naniwa diamond, which was maybe one of the first one in the market, maybe something like that. I don't use them that much, mostly because they are so thin, and because they are so thin, because I'm working every day with a stone, it would be too depressing to kill stone after the other. So I like stone that are a little bit hard and a little bit thick, so I can work many knives on one stone and not having too much trouble about wearing the stone and spending stones and stones and stones. Some stones, so I got Venev and I got NSK. I don't have really other stones. I got one practical sharpening, but it's no more doing stones. Maybe there is triple B or triple hand stones, never available, so, and very expensive, so I never tested it. There is Columbia something, but it's also very thin. There is no much more option actually. And Venev, they start to be not that easy to find because of the war with Ukraine, and Venev are done in Russia. So yeah, even Venev, is it already an option? We don't know for sure. Okay, so if people want to grind their knife, they got mainly two options: the traditional stones or the diamond stones. And in the diamond stones, NSK is doing a lot of possibility, and those days we are discovering the stones made by NSK, which is in Japan, and Oboro is the new line I'm testing, and it's made for knives because it's Oboro knives and there is Oboro tools. And NSK has created two other range of stones. There is I can't remember the name of the first one, which are green, which were maybe the first one, which are considered maybe a little bit softer. And I have and there is another one which is Hakuto. And Hakuto, there is like 3 hardness, 1, 2, 3. Well, it's very, very complex. To me, I would say to start the review of the NSK, I would say it's too much. It's really too much. They should really simplify. If they got a lot of range for different use for different people, great, but they should advertise for knife polishing that this line is good and the other don't care, don't look at it. If all the lines are good for knives, well, there is 1, 2, because there is Oboro tools, Oboro knives, Hakuto, and the fourth one, and Hakuto got 3 lines inside it. Well, sorry, it's very, very complex, and for that I would say NSK is difficult for most people. And if I'm not there as a tester telling you, well, I have tested this stone and this can be useful for something, I guess people would give up, because it's very complex. And because they are expensive, they are 280 euros on the market about. There is 5 lines with maybe 8 stones for each lines. That's huge amount of money in the end. So people don't want to try them all. They want to buy one which will be useful. I got some, so let's talk about the Oboro. I got the 200, 400, 800 and 2K, and I got actually 200, and this one is brand new, never touched, and this one I used it for maybe a week. I wanted to check a little bit the stone with a ruler, and for example, just to tell you that brand new, this one is flat, but is it dead flat? Not really. That's just something. It's close to be 300 euros now, stone. Should be perfectly flat, maybe. And a second thing I'm gonna show you is the abrasion of the stone. And I would say there is a little bit of with many stones there is a problem with conditioning with diamond stones, because they are hard wearing, slow wearing. That means they don't dish very fast. It's because the resin is very harder than traditional whetstones. They glaze a little bit, and then you need to condition the stone so it cuts again very well. And I would say for the 200, maybe one of the problem is that if I use the new one, and I will show you today, I'm just reading if there is any comments. Okay, if I use the stone, when it's brand new, it will cut very well for a few minutes, and then it would start glazing. The surface will be flattened by the knife, and it will stop cutting a little bit. To make this surface cutting again, maybe Ivan in his video is showing how to use this little stone, which is sick powder stone, silicon carbide abrasive, and it's actually quite soft stone, so when you rub the stone on it, you will have silicon carbide very quickly on your stone, which is great because it will actually abrade the surface, and it won't abrade the diamond that much. It will abrade the resin first, so it will make a conditioning of the stone which will be better for the cutting. But a problem again with my testing is that I tried to rub it flat, I tried to rub it with an angle. It didn't give back the surface that I had when the stone was brand new. So this is a little bit of a problem. They should work a little bit that the user can bring back the surface of the stone, can really have some tools to make it, and this start to exist, but it's not really well set yet. So I hope they will improve that. About the flattening stone, I got the 200. Okay, it's a stone with a little bit of grooves. I have made the grooves again because I have weared the stones. Yeah, unfortunately these stones also, so it's flattening stones. It's bought separately. There is, this one is 200 and there is like 5 of them. There is one 200, one 400, one 800, one 2K for each grit. I can't speak with the other grit. I only bought the 200 one. For me it's not working. It's not grinding efficiently the diamond surface to make it flat again easily, and it wears. It's not staying flat very long, and what can I say about it? It's not really great. They should create better tools to look after those stones. And for example, I got some Venev 80 grit. Okay, this is very, very coarse abrasive inside the stone. If I could have a lot of them, because it's not really available, but if I could have a lot of them, I would take 80 grit, make grooves myself, and this stone would work much better to flatten the stone than this one, which is weaker. All right, so let's use the stone. Is there any comment? I can see there is any comment and it will be difficult to read. Okay, wait a second. So, have you asked Ivan on how he actually used the flattening stone? I didn't ask a lot of questions about Ivan. We had a discussion a little bit, but it was a long time ago. Ivan is very busy. Myself, I'm busy, and we didn't find a way to talk about it. So the information I got is mainly the information you have, which are through his video he made about the NSK stones. So how he used the stone, maybe he rubbed something on it to make it more aggressive, but again it's quite a thin layer of resin, so it's difficult. Even myself, I'm at the end of it. I have made grooved for the second time, and those grooves are also weird now. For me it's too soft and it's not coarse enough for 200. Maybe you want something like that to condition the stone, maybe, but I don't think the stone is really well conditioned with the 200. I would say it would be great if it was an 80 grit, 60 grit, something very coarse, because we want this 200 to cut like hell. People don't want to use a belt because it's too difficult for people at home to have a machine, and it's also a little bit dangerous to grind the knife on the belt if you are not a knife maker. So those stones should have everything so they can cut like hell and make great abrasion on knives for home people. And they are expensive stones compared to whetstone. It's 5 times more expensive, so everything should be much better, 5 times better. Okay, I'm a little bit hard on it, but and they are great. I use them, but I think they should work hard on it again. Okay, no more question. Let's go on. Let's keep moving. So let me show you a little bit the abrasion of this one. So this one, I'm gonna show you even how myself I condition the stone. So let's see, and we will compare with the Venev stones too. What I can see is that yes, there is black swarf, there is not too much mud. That's good, because that means the stone is not wearing, it's not resin on the stone, but it's really metal, so that's great. And I'm gonna show you how it looks like. So here I didn't erase 80 grit yet. Let me work a little bit, and if you think about question, I will answer. I will read them. Okay. About pressure, I'm trying different things. I guess if it was cutting like hell, I could lower the pressure, but it's true that my pressure is not crazy, but still, you can see my body is on the stone a little bit. So I think it's quite a lot of weight putting on the stone. Okay, I got something enough to show you. Okay, so this is what you will get with the 200. I'm trying to show you the best I can. Okay, this is a good one. It's not like super coarse, but still, yeah, for a stone, it's pretty coarse. I would say it's not crazy coarse, but it's okay. It's 200. I don't say the stone is like finer than 200. I would say it's maybe still 200 stone. Let's compare to Venev. Venev are quite interesting stone, and in my opinion, if I can advise you, okay, I see a question in the mirror. Sorry, I go under. No, it's same question, so it's okay. Venev are different grid system. They are not the same grid system. I think Oboro share the general normal grid system and scale. So 200 grid Oboro would be about similar as a 200 grit Imanish, okay? In the type of abrasive. This is diamond and Imanish is, I don't know, corindon, something like that. Aluminium oxide. Venev are diamond, and it's not the same resin, it's not the same scale of abrasive. So, for example, this one is 80 grit on the scale of Venev, and it should be a little bit finer than what it says if we compare to the normal grit system. So it should be a 120 grit, 150 grit, something like that. And the other side I got 100, I think, or 150. Can I see? Yeah, it's 150. So the other side I got 150, and 150 should be 200 grit in the normal abrasive. So I'm generally using the other side, the 80 grit, to make really power on those stones, and I'm gonna show you how I condition the stones. I got some 46 corindon. So maybe doing this, people will say, well, he's crazy and we should not listen anything else. But I will say it's really a good way to condition diamond stone so they can cut. They can cut very well. So I've put some 40 grit thick powder on this Venev, and I'm using this thick stone. Okay, it's super coarse, and it's very hard. So now I rinse the stone, rinse holder, rinse everything, rinse my hands, rinse the knife, and let's see what it can do. We're gonna work maybe toward the tip, so we have a different. We're gonna let the 200 on the heel part, and we're gonna work on the tip part. It's fresh from conditioning. If I was doing fresh conditioning on the 200, maybe would be different. Again, we see black swath and no mud from the stone because the stone is very hard. For me, there is some abrasion I like on the Venev, which is not the feel I got with the NSK. The NSK is a little bit weird at the beginning because it almost smooths enough that you would say, well, it's not maybe not cutting, but it is cutting. It is really cutting. So it's a little bit weird at the beginning. And the Venev is really not like that. The Venev, you can feel you have some abrasion. It's a little bit more direct. Maybe less smooth, surely less smooth because it's a harder stone, but you can feel that it's cutting. And the finish will be brighter. I'm gonna finish just this little part and I will show you. Okay, there is a little bit of 80, but it's almost gone. As you can see, those 200 from 80 grit belt, if your belt didn't do too much crazy bad things, you should be able to grind those 80 grit quite easily. Again, if that means you didn't make too much mistakes on the belt. Okay. Let me show you that. Okay. So as you can see, it's a little bit more shiny. Okay. It's a little bit more shiny. It's quite coarse, as you can see, and if we compare with the Oboro, it's quite similar in scratches. Sorry, I'm trying to find a way to show you the best scratch pattern. So this is Oboro and this is Venev. So yeah, the abrasion would be about the same. That means, for me, that means that if you have some Venev already, not sure you should buy the Oboro NSK. I got some little moment or a situation where the Oboro will be needed even if you have the Venev, but for most of the work, if you have a Venev which is 150, it will work almost a little bit like Oboro. The situation where I would say Venev start to be slower than Oboro is when the knife start to have a very large flat surface. If you flatten your bevel, the more the flat surface, the more there is surface on the stone, and then if the stone is very hard, those two very hard surface will rub together, and they are very huge surface because the stone is very large. The bevel, if it's a very large one, will be very large, and then because the Venev is harder than the Hakuto, than the Oboro, then the Venev will slow and it will be maybe grinding not as fast as you would like. Even if you do that little trick of conditioning the surface of the stone, it will start to go slower. And whereas the Oboro, in my opinion, even if it needs conditioning, it will cut. It will still cut. And it will never go to a situation where it will completely glaze totally. It will slowly cut a little bit less because the conditioning will be make a smooth surface, but still it will cut because it's a little bit softer resin than the Venev. Something I can show you is thinning the hard steel, because when we work sanmai, sometimes we have the whole bevel touching the stone, and we have steel and iron together, and if you want to push shinogi, you will only grind iron, but if you want to thin your edge behind the edge, you will touch only hard steel, and a stone will behave very differently if you work on the iron. It will behave very differently if you work on the steel. So let's work, for example, only on the iron for the Venev. I don't know if you hear. But I can really hear the stone working. It's really pushing, and I'm gonna show you straight now. I can really see that it cuts, and I'm gonna show you these facets along shinogi. This is Venev just did. Sorry, I'm gonna find a way to show you. Okay, and you see these little facets starting here and going here. This is what I just did. I just pushed shinogi a little bit up. So Venev is quite good for iron. It's quite normal because it's very hard stone. Iron is very soft. It's working well together when there is two different hardness. If I'm now working to thin the hard steel, let's work here where there is quite a lot of hard steel to thin. Very different behavior. I would say it's still cutting quite a lot. It's still cutting, and I can see it's cutting, but it's not the same. I would say not bad at all, but it's not the same. And let's try on the Oboro. If you have questions about it, please, you can ask. So let's work the hard steel with the Oboro. I'm gonna work the other side a little bit so I don't too much problem with this knife. So I want to thin behind the edge. And I can see it's not bad, it's working, but it's working different for sure. It's more slippery because the abrasion is not very aggressive. And if I want to push Shinogi again with the Oboro, I don't have exactly the same feedback, and it's not exactly as giving as information as Venev because it's not as hard. It's a little bit softer, so it's a little bit difficult to feel, and there will be less facets, but I can show you all right. I just did this one. A little bit less, this one. A little bit less precise and less sharp because it's a little bit softer. I wouldn't say it's too soft. It's not like really too soft. But the Venev is really hard, and for that kind of precision toward the Shinogi, it's nice. I like it. I'm used to it, maybe. I'm used to it. Okay. So you have seen this. Do you have any question about the comparison between Oboro? Oh, I got Hakuto 200 actually. So we can compare a little bit. Where is it? Yes. Okay. So Hakuto 200 is finished almost, so I don't have a lot of stone left, but we can compare a little bit. They have actually improved something, which is resin thickness. It was not as thick as that, I think. I can't remember. I think I took some measurements, but I lost the paper, of course. But I would say it's almost 1 millimeter thicker, maybe. So this is good. This is great for the same price, about 1 millimeter thicker, maybe. I say hard thing about NSK, but they did some few things good, of course. So, for example, let's surface the stone with this thick stone, thick abrasive stone. Okay, and let's work maybe toward the tip this side. Okay, honestly, from my first feedback, just going from Oboro to Hakuto, I would say it's better. I would say it's better because it feels a little bit coarser, a little bit more attack on the iron actually. Let's see on the steel. On the steel is a little bit gummy. I would say it's okay, but it's not like feeling that it's grinding a lot. And on the iron it feels really great. And on the steel it's a little bit gum thing. You don't feel like you have power of, like if it was a Atoma diamond plate, something like that. You don't have really this impact. And I would say when I'm feeling this, I don't feel very confident to thin or polish shape Onyaki, because there is so much hard steel on a Honyaki. So if on this little surface, if I feel it's not really impacting, grinding the steel very well, I would say on Honyaki it will be too long. Of course Honyaki are longer, but anyway. And let's jump Oboro Hakuto, if my feeling is right or not. So this is on iron. I do the same surface, so there is not too much difference. Yes, it's less gummy. This one is a little bit softer, I would say. So it's a little bit more. The feeling is better on the iron, I would say. You can feel more the abrasion on it, and on the steel this one feels a little bit more gummy. I don't know if it's a proper way to say it. And this one is sliding a little bit, and the Venev will slide a little bit more too, I would say, even more. If you have to buy one or the other, it will be a difficult one. Honestly, are they crazy different? I'm not sure they are crazy different. And I'm not sure that people who don't thin knife like me a lot, I'm not sure they will feel those differences. I would say, yeah, on the hard steel it's hard to feel the abrasion here. On the iron I can really see it's very abrasive. So this one is really good for iron, so good for samurai, but it's good, but it wear very fast. That's what I would say. I don't know about the Oboro. This Oboro is only there for 1 week. It needs to be a lot of knives before I say, okay, it's really slow wearing and it's good, or if it's wearing too fast. This one I used it last year, and honestly I didn't use it on that much of many knives. I don't want to say any number because it will be maybe wrong. I didn't take notes of it, so I don't want to say any mistakes, but it was wearing a little bit fast. And maybe what will make this Oboro a little bit better is that maybe you don't have exactly the same feeling on iron, which is a little bit more aggressive on a Hakuto, maybe, I would say. A little bit more good feeling. But it will be slower wearing. It will stay flat a little bit longer. So for people who just start on those stones, sometimes you will not have choice because there is no much stock. So if you have Hakuto 200 available and not Oboro, honestly, take one, it's okay. I don't think there is that much crazy difference that you will notice. But if you have already bought a Hakuto, you want to test maybe the other one, try it because it's good. I think it will be a little bit slower wearing. Okay, and now we can test a little bit the 400, and we can compare to the Venev too. Okay, no more question. Very no talk today. Well, maybe I'm talking too much, so you don't talk too much. If you have question about it, if you have something you wanted to see how it behaves, please, I'm really here for that. So let's play with the 400. Again, it's always a little bit surprising with those stones. When I use them, I'm not really sure they really do the job. And when I look at the knife, I would say I'm surprised it cut enough. Cut like I thought it was cutting. When I use the stone, is a little bit not aggressive enough. I don't feel the abrasion enough, I would say. But finally, when I look the knife, I can see that I have done some effect, that I have erased the 200 scratches. So it's working. It's working. On the hot steel, yeah, it's very smooth stones. For coarse stone, it's very, very smooth. This is on the hot steel. Okay. Very nice cutting. I would say it's great, but it misses a little bit of abrasion feeling for me. Again, maybe I'm too used to Venev, because I have bought this Hakuto last year in February, and about in May or June, that's it was done. So I start using Venev in June or July, and since then I'm using Venev. Alright, we're gonna compare with the Venev. So Venev, I got this one, which is 240 here and 400 here, but again, Venev is not the same scale. 400 will be maybe 600, 700 maybe, and the 240 will be maybe 350, 400. I would say it's similar, maybe 350, let's say. Okay, so let's work another place. I can see just right now I have put my knife in another direction, and I can see there is still a lot of 200 finally that was not visible just straight away, but they are visible now on a certain angle. So this 400 Oboro didn't erase that fast. Would need a little bit more work, maybe. Let's try. I can't remember when I grind. Yeah, here, let's say. Again, for me, for the feeling of abrasion, I like the Venev. I don't know if you hear, but the Venev really got a great abrasion feeling. Then, is it faster? Honestly, I should maybe I thought about it, like put a timer and a caliper and measure the thickness of the steel, and then use it for 10 minutes or 5 minutes and see how much steel I have grind. Well, I don't have time for those, but would be a test, why not? And for me Venev is great. Is it coarser than 400? I don't think so. Okay, let me show you a little bit, maybe, if I can. I'm gonna work a little bit more on the other side actually with the Oboro 400, so I can show you really the thing. I'm gonna maybe surface the stone. Okay, so it's all fresh. Yeah, smoother, quieter stone. like that. I would say not as fast as Venev, but maybe it's only because it's smoother. I would say Venev is a little bit coarser, maybe. All right, so this side is Oboro 400. It's not like perfect, but you can have an idea maybe of the thing. Maybe I should put a little bit more light. Okay, and this is Venev. All right, any more question? Nobody? Again, I could compare to the Hakuto, but this one is not Hakuto, it's Hakuto S, so it's 1S, so it's a little bit softer than only the one. The 2 would be even softer normally, and then there is even 3, but all those lines, they don't exist actually for all grids. Most of the 2 and 3, you can see them on the 3K or 6K, but not really on the very coarse stones. Okay, so just to show you very quickly, because the stone is finished anyway. Let's work here. Let's surface a little bit. Right, it's really finished. And this resin of the 400S, maybe it's different from one stone to other one, but the one I had was really soft for me. It's the end of the stone, so is there any glue that melts a little bit with the resin and the glue which was meant to fix the resin? Because it's actually, it was feeling super soft when I grind it with the 6 stone. Here it's not feeling like that soft. What I would say is that it was a little bit too soft for me, but it was a S, so maybe the Hakuto, not S, is a little bit like Oboro, and I would say it was getting very, very fast. For this stone, if I buy another one, I will use it only on Onyaki, because I think it's great on hard steel. Here, honestly, it's not getting really well, but I think also because it's end of the stone. Because when I was using that stone on raw ironclad, it was really making mud, and this one, for now, it's not making mud, so actually change a little bit the behavior. But maybe it's because it's the end of it. The abrasion is good and it's bright and it's fast, I would say. So still a good stone. All right, maybe what I could say to finish this little video, there is other stones to show you, but I would say 200, 400 is really the most important one. I can show you quickly 800 maybe. So 800 grit on the Hakuto, on the Oboro. It's a little bit slow at the beginning, but while you use it, you will make a little bit of mud. And when there is a little bit of mud made, like here, it's done. Okay? then it will cut. It will cut very fast. And even it can cut a little bit too deep if you do that. And then once you have done your work, you better clean the mud and work only with water to make it really more clean. And if I compare to the 800 Hakuto, I would say, just to compare, Hakuto 800 feel a little bit finer, feel a little bit less coarse. So if you have both, maybe you can use one first and then the second one. Hakuto 800 also right now I can see that it worked a little bit faster too. I think it's a little bit softer resin, and compared to the Oboro, it starts cutting faster. And the Oboro cuts a little bit slower, but it's a little bit coarser, a little bit. I can see there is no question, but it's no problem. I'm gonna stop there. No, I'm gonna show you one thing, maybe one last thing. We're gonna compare NSK Oboro 200 with Imanish 200. So, do we have a flat? I need to put some water on it first. Okay, a little bath for the stone. I'm not really soaking those Imanishi too much, just a little bit, like 1 or 2 minutes, but I don't perma soak or soak them for 20 minutes or 15 minutes, because they will become a little bit too soft. So and when you use them a little bit too dry, they will behave a little bit harder, and it's better. Traditional whetstones, they got problems. If the resin of the ceramic bonded is too soft, they will really not be precise enough, and they will make a mess of your bevel. You will not really see where are the high or the low spots. And when they are very hard resin or bond, they almost not cut, and you can refresh with the Atoma and left the Atoma mud on it, but it's the only way to make it them cut. If not, it will glaze in 10 seconds. Imanishi Bester is one of my favorite because it's good balance between that. It's not dishing too fast, and it's not glazing too fast too. Okay. Alright, and let me show you how it will cut. Yeah, it's really not the same story, huh? Really not. Okay, let me show you. We're gonna compare 200 Oboro and 200 Imanishi straight away. So this is Oboro. I'm gonna do the heel with the Imanishi. And this is on the iron. This is on the steel. Okay, let's work a little bit more. Okay, that's it. And let's work with the Oboro toward the tip. Okay. it feels less abrasive, but it's also because it's doing a little bit cleaner job, but still there is some abrasion. I can feel that it's grabbing every stroke, a little bit less, but it's grabbing. And just to show you the differences, and for me it's quite a deal breaker between those two. Okay, I'm trying to make the focus. Okay, so this is Imanish, and Imanish, as you can see, it's making Kasumi straight away. It's making dark iron and white hard steel, whereas the Oboro and the diamond stones, they will make shiny everything. For that you will see your scratch pattern much better on the diamond stone, and you will see your transition on the shinogi much better, whereas on the traditional stone, come on, it can make something a little bit misty around the shinogi. It's not really the case here because I didn't work maybe that much on it, but it can make a little bit mist, and because it's darkening iron, it's making one dark color, and then it's very difficult to see the shape of the bevel. This is the main difference between diamond and traditional whetstone. Traditional whetstone, really they grind. You can hear, I guess you hear it like me, that the abrasion is really there. It's really there, but you don't really see what you're doing, and this is a big problem because you can make more arm not doing really something precise than if you work a little bit slower but more precise. That's why I'm working with diamonds a lot, because I feel I'm wasting a little bit less time, going a little bit more slowly, but being a little bit more precise. But there is cases where I want speed completely. I want really speed, and I know I will need the diamond to make a precise bevel and shape at the end. But for the few, maybe 1 hour work first or 30 minutes work first, I need the speed, and for that I will take a traditional whetstone like Debado or this Imanish, and I will do a first grind. For example, on the steel, I would say those traditional whetstone, they work faster than diamond. Of course diamond is diamond, but because the stones are harder, they abrade a little bit less than a little bit softer whetstone. That's why. Okay, so I think we went about all the subjects. I thought I would have a little bit more question. So let's say that if you watch this video and you have question about the NSK line, and I could maybe develop or precise some few things, because I will maybe, if there is a little bit of comments and discussion around that, I will maybe make a short video to summarize what I've said now. Okay, so if you have any question about this line, these NSK stones, how I feel they work, how I feel they could be useful, just type a comment under the video. Last thing, maybe to summarize, I would not say, because I know I'm rude on those stones, so I don't want to make a conclusion that those stones are too expensive and not working enough well and not good enough and something like that. First, there is no much concurrence, is like there is no much other brands that do diamond stone that can compete with the NSK, because Venev you don't find anywhere, and other brands, there is Naniwa diamond which is pretty well available, but it's a little bit thinner diamond surface, and it's also, there is no 200 grit. So NSK, it's one of the only stones readily available. I think they are great stones, and I bought them, and I have bought them last year, and I bought them this year again because they really work okay. But I also think that they should maybe get rid of some of the stone in different lines, and maybe create one line for the tools, one line for sanmai, and one line for onyaki. I would do something like that. They will do what they want, of course. And I would say, because the 200 is a little bit not powerful enough, and for example, I didn't show you the 80 grit from Venev, I only show you the 150 grit. The 80 grit from Venev, when it's well conditioned, it cuts faster. When it starts to be a long, large surface and a flat surface, it's maybe a little bit slow, again, because it's hard stone, but it cuts a little bit faster than this 200 when there is not too much flatness. So they should really make a 150 grit or a 100 grit stone with this Oboro line quickly. Well, if they want to make people thin their knife and thin their knife efficiently, because if you do it with the 200, it will be efficient, but nothing near like a belt, of course. And I would say, if you want just to thin the knife without the need to aesthetic, okay, so you don't care about grinding your shinogi up too much and making a little bit of a mess, you just want to thin your knife, whatever the aesthetic, a whetstone will be maybe more powerful, I would say. There is more abrasion because it's a little bit softer. Okay, I think I'm done. I'm looking if there is any question, but still no question. Okay. Have a good day all. I hope it was useful. Please tape a comment so I can maybe think it was useful. And have a great day. Goodbye.